In the beginning there was nothing but a vast, empty void. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. The light pierced through the darkness, and God saw that the light was good. He separated the light from the darkness, calling the light day and the darkness night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. On the second day, God said, "Let there be a vault between the waters to separate water from water." God made the sky, a beautiful expanse stretching above the earth, filled with fluffy white clouds. And there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. On the third day, God gathered the waters to reveal dry ground, calling the dry ground land and the gathered waters seas. Then he said, "Let the land produce vegetation." Plants and trees of every kind sprouted, bearing beautiful flowers and delicious fruits. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. On the fourth day, God said, "Let there be lights in the sky to separate the day from the night." He made the sun to govern the day, and the moon to govern the night. He also made the stars. The heavens became a magnificent tapestry, marking the rhythms of life. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. On the fifth day, God said, "Let the water teem with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the sky." The seas filled with fish and whales, while the sky was filled with birds of every kind. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. On the sixth day, God said, "Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds." Animals of every kind roamed the earth. Then God created mankind in his own image. He formed Adam from the dust and made Eve from Adam's rib. They lived in the beautiful Garden of Eden, surrounded by animals. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. On the seventh day, God had finished his work of creation, and he rested. God blessed the seventh day and made it holy because on it he rested from all the work he had done. The heavens and the earth were complete, and it was very good. Adam and Eve lived in the Garden of Eden, a place of unparalleled beauty and peace. They enjoyed the fruits of every tree, walked by the rivers, and lived in harmony with the animals. In the middle of the garden stood the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the one tree they were forbidden to eat from. One day, a cunning serpent approached Eve and said, "Did God really say, 'You must not eat from any tree in the garden'?" Eve replied, "We may eat fruit from the trees, but God said not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, or we will die." The serpent said, "You will not certainly die. You will be like God, knowing good and evil." Eve saw the fruit was good for food and pleasing to the eye. She ate it and gave some to Adam, who also ate. Their eyes were opened and they realized they were naked. They felt shame and covered themselves with fig leaves. God confronted Adam and Eve, asking if they had eaten from the forbidden tree. Adam blamed Eve, and Eve blamed the serpent. God said to the serpent, "You are cursed above all animals. You will crawl on your belly and eat dust." To Eve he said, "I will make your pains in childbearing very severe." To Adam he said, "Cursed is the ground because of you. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground." God made garments of skin for Adam and Eve and clothed them. Then he said, "The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to take from the tree of life and live forever." God banished them from Eden and placed cherubim and a flaming sword to guard the entrance. Adam and Eve began their new life outside Eden, facing a harsher world. Banished from paradise, Adam and Eve began their new life. They had children, worked the land, and faced many challenges. Despite their fall, God's love for them remained. This story of creation, disobedience, and redemption reminds us of the beauty of God's world and his everlasting love for humanity. Our story was about how the world was created and the first humans, Adam and Eve, who attempted to sin and be disobedient to God their Father. They were ashamed when they did this and had to admit to it and say sorry to be forgiven for their mistake. Still, they were punished to teach them a lesson. It did not mean God didn't love them, but that is what happens when you are disobedient. Now let us move on to the next story about Adam and Eve and their children.